You know those last moments in the Blair Witch where the guy's standing in the corner and he's turned around, then the girl gets hit over the head and she's dead or whatever. Just imagine that on repeat in your head, just non-stop, basically. Hey there, welcome to the vlog. I'm still not used to saying the fucking word vlog. It sounds so fucking vlog. So we all know depression feels like, and but what happens after depression? All that and more. Oh god, I can't even look you in the fucking camera. Hey, so I gotta get used to looking at the camera. So my name is Shane. You can get a brief introduction in my last video. I just pointed to a random place there. I don't even know if the video's gonna be there. Yeah, so basically, just a quick video on depression. I lived depression free up until I was about 24 or something like that. 23 maybe. Then something happened in my life. My whole personality basically changed overnight and I tried to cope with that afterwards. There is a history of mental illness in my family. For the last, I want to say 6 or 7 years, excluding the last 2 years, I was severely fucking depressed. It was not pretty. Everything changed overnight, basically. I felt like aneurysm, almost, but everything changed really quickly. And you're like, shit dude, you just normally, you get into a funk and you get out of it again, but it just kept going, regardless of external factors. For me, the road from there, from like suicidal ideation and all that horrible stuff to here now, which is stability and sometimes flourishing, was fucking long and a lot of trial and error. So I wanted to make this video to just talk about the select few things that I've encountered that have made that process way fucking easier, because things really can change. You'll hear from anyone who's dealt with depression for a long time and had some sort of progressive path that you actually come out the other end a lot better. You come out a better person than you were before the depression, basically. When I was at my worst, it wasn't that I wanted to stay in my room, I was locked in my room, basically. Just crippling fear, anxiety, wanted to sleep, didn't want to sleep, just tons of paradoxes. Mind basically fucked, worried about going crazy, occasional bouts of psychosis, I guess. It just felt like a bad drug trip, just 24/7. Really unmanageable, really terrifying, and you're just kind of writing it out. You're just like, maybe this will change. And in the beginning you're like, maybe this will change tomorrow, maybe if I do a certain amount of things this will lift. And 2 years later you're like, wow, nothing's changed. And that's fucking terrifying. Even at the most basic level, it felt like my ability to appreciate stuff was just broken, just completely broken, and that was terrifying. I couldn't perceive just any beauty anymore in the world, and that was really fucking terrifying. Really made me feel like I was going batshit insane. I knew I had to do something about it. To compare that to where I'm at today, life is very much richer. I am pursuing the things I like. I play music. The ability to feel has been very much restored. Not a day goes by that I don't appreciate that. A word on how I got to where I'm at. There are a few things that stick out that were huge. We as people are all very much biochemically unique. We all require a very custom therapeutic approach. Therapy in terms of like what you do with your body physically, exercise, food, and regular talk therapy as well. I went to, my first therapist kind of sucked, second therapist was better, my third was really good. It took me a while to find someone who actually seemed to care about what they were doing, brought some originality to what they were doing and feeling. And also at the same time starting medication. I started on 30 milligrams of Paxil, which I think is pretty high to start on, but it was just right to get me out of the sewer. I was still covered in shit, but I was out of the sewer. Around the time I was diagnosed with depression, I also moved to New York, so it was like, yeah, things are terrifying, let's make them more terrifying, just move 3,000 miles across the world. So I did that, probably delayed things a bit. Yeah, I spent about 3 years addressing the mental aspect of it, delving into my past, you know, writing letters to my parents or to people in my life that I felt like I hadn't been honest with or or something had happened that I let go because I was too scared of addressing it, or finding out what my real history was, or the history of my parents, or the history of my childhood, stuff that happened. All that stuff was incredibly important to probe and dissect and look at. Maybe if you take some ayahuasca you can do that and fast forward, but that wasn't for me. Big turnaround thing for me was this book, The Depression Cure by Stephen Ilardi. I don't know how to pronounce his second name. Sounds somewhat cheesy, but I saw his TED Talk, his TEDx talk, not the TED Talk, Depression, Disease of a Civilization, I think it was called. I'll link that in the doobly-doo. And that blew my mind. He looks at the mental illness ratio amongst hunter-gatherer tribes of the past, or tribes that are still largely separated from Western culture now, and found that there was like something like a 0.1% instance of mental illness amongst large groups of people. And while he's talking about this, he talks about how in the West, you know, in the last 20 years, depression rates have soared, but so too have prescription rates. And you think by now there would have been a little bit more progress on that. He started a huge research study and development program with volunteers into a new way of treating depression, which look at a bunch of things holistically, like diet, health, supplementation, sunshine exposure, all these smaller factors contributing to a bigger whole. And I coupled that with jogging twice a week, just like a mile. For the longest time I didn't work out. It's incredibly stupid not to do so. No offense. I was so fucking resistant to jogging. I don't like moving. I like sleeping. I like being lazy. But holy shit, after a bunch of false starts, you know, like 2 months of trying it, 1 month of not getting it, over and over again, over the course of a couple of years, eventually it stuck. And that, coupled with the eating not shit food, was absolutely revelatory. And it sounds so fucking simple, but so many of us, if you're depressed especially, you don't want to do that. It sounds like rubbing sandpaper and glass on your face or something every morning. I don't know. But baby steps is the important thing. If I could recommend one book to start with, it would be The Depression Cure. It's pretty insane. Should really write a script. As someone who suffered with depression for, what, 8 years and been on medication for about 5, and just white-knuckled through a bunch of horror, The Depression Cure allowed for a really seamless transition into just healthy shit and away from non-healthy shit. And I can't recommend it enough, I guess. It's worth checking out, I think. Again, not proper medical advice. Man, fucking vlogging's weird and hard to do and shit. God, I hope this video was okay, / good even, / fine. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on how it goes. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe down there somewhere. Thank you very much for watching, and I should come up with a catchphrase that I put at the end of every video, but I can't think of anything right now. So, you're probably a nice person. Thank you.